Praise be to Christ.
I'm Gregor.
I know. But I've no time for idle chat. I transcribe books from dawn till dusk.
What, you do nothing else?
It is my penance and my blessing. And now, brother, if you don't... Praise be to... What troubles you?
I'd like to ask...
Can't you see I'm working?
The forbidden books must be in that cabinet.
What is it, brother?
Listen, brother. Is there anyone in the monastery who can help me get hold of something?
Oh, yes? And what sort of thing are you talking about, exactly? Forget about it.
Peace be with you, brother.
My name's Gregor.
You can call me Siskin. Now, are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment?
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough.
Will you tell me something?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer...
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather... I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck... And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me, in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my brothers, my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with...
To get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take...
That's all I wanted.
Please, keep it to yourself. Especially...
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonia.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a...
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect out?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. The monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about...
I'd like to ask... Who's in charge?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot...
Are there already candidates to...
Brothers John and Nevlas.
but the others have been fighting like dogs because of them.
This John,
A Sir Cater, and really just an unpleasant old man. It's mostly the older brothers on his side because they believe...
tell me something about...
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He's what they call the provost. He'd like to bring back solemnity to the monastery through reform and by returning to pure faith.
Why can't novices...
They say we don't have enough experience to decide about anything.
Why can't novices...
They say we don't have enough experience to decide about anything. Don't worry. We'll get our chance.
Why is who wins so important?
We're young and we'll spend the rest of our lives here. And the abbot decides everything about our lives. Didn't it ever occur to you how powerful he is?
I found this piece of parchment.
I've no idea.
God be with you.
Salve. Be well.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
I'd like to ask... I'd like to know something about the other...
I don't...
What can you tell...
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't...
You really don't know anything about anyone?
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more.
Will you tell me?
I
mean, where you're from? What sort of life?
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas.
Come on. Is there really nothing...
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and pray. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath.
Ah, Gregor.
I'd like to ask... Who's in charge of...
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator of the monastery, but you won't see him. He's always travelling on. On top of that, he's old and infirm. Perhaps...
And what happens when the old abbot...
Well, then we elect a new...
Are there any candidates to be the new...
Yes, there are. Brothers John and Nevlas. Oh, cursed election. On one side are brothers who'd like to see John as abbot, on the other, those who support Nevlas.
I thought politics weren't part of them.
You're right. But we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decision can influence our entire...
Can you...
Where would you go? You've everything you need here. Anyway, all...
What can you tell me about...
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life.
I meant something specific about the brothers.
But you know them yourself. Yorick is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager, perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company. Antonius is hard-working and will help with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we...
Leave me be. I want to sleep. No! Clear off! Oh, why are you waking me? Go away.
I'm Gregor and I'm...
I know. I saw you in the church during the ceremony. I have a feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm a cicada.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything is the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
I'd like to ask... What are the roles of the...
Well, the abbot is the head, but he's not here now. Then there's the prior, the sub-prior, the librarian, the porter, many others. As a novice, you should be particularly mindful of the cicadas. They're the ones who maintain discipline.
Tell me something about...
Prayer?
Can you tell me something about the...
7 centuries ago, St. Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps...
Can you tell me something about...
7. The fundamental
Do you never want to know...
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers changed, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged throughout the ages.
I'm interested in the monastery's history.
Well, it was founded by Saint Procopius 500 years ago. After his death, heretics occupied the place.
Heretics, you said?
They wanted to worship God with some foreign rituals, in a language foreign to God. They were driven away, and their books burnt.
Who's in charge of things around here?
Oh, Abbot Peter is the administrator.
And what... About you in the election.
Ask me anything you...
I'd like to know what's...
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are the benefits for himself and his cronies.
I'd like to help you if...
I'm convinced Nevlus must have done something that would greatly damage him if everyone found out.
So I should dig something up on him and tell you about it?
Exactly. But I doubt you'll have any luck. Nevlus is too...
Once I find something out, I'll tell... Tell me something about...
Nevlus is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
Thank you for... What did you want me to do?
Dig up some dirt on Nevlus and tell me about it. If he's discredited in...
I'm Gregor.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nevlus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's...
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just...
Is there anything I could help with?
You know, there is. Perhaps you've heard that Abbot Peter is gravely ill. I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you...
What do you need me for?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now, you know, most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book.
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover, no one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it.
Is there anything you...
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpick.
Why can't you do it?
Because I'm one of the highest-ranking monks here, and one day I'd like to become abbot. Can you imagine me?
You could just ask for it.
Do you honestly think I haven't tried? Unfortunately,
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass They say Brother Solarius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout?
Not exactly.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you, but there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery.
Should I find out for you what's going on?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong...
Very good then.
Thank you, brother.
What do you want me to...
I'd be interested to hear about any iniquity.
Ah, this looks like the Saracen language. Ibn al-Hassan. That's who I'm looking for. Avicenna.
Talk to me.
Is it possible to learn something about the other novel?
Only the abbot and the
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he...
I'd like to...
What trouble?
Greetings, brother.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the Order. I suggest you get to know the old...
Can you tell me something?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk.
Why did you join the mon...
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate. But he was kind enough to... And you know what? I'm glad to be here.
I'd like to ask you...
I'm interested in the... What can you tell me about...
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of... I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right...
Sounds like you don't have...
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it...
Do you know anything?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. And so he's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for...
I'm interested in...
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself. If you ask me, he's got something to hide.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him?
Quite a lot. And also none at all.
I'm interested...
Nobody...
Do you have any...
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circuitous who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
What can you tell...
Oh, he's always got... I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown...
Sounds like you...
I wouldn't trust him as far as...
Who would you vote?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote.
I'm just interested.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in...
I'm interested...
What is it, brother?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's...
It appears to be a pig.
Ovid? What is that?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them... Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place.
Good.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you...
Can you tell me something about...
The Art of Love is a sort of manual instructing young people how to find and maintain love. It's a lovely work. I don't understand what bothered Eustace so much about it, but as I was saying, he considered the book to be immoral and tore it up to stop it corrupting any...
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The page...
I found a few pages of the...
Wonderful. Keep...
I'd like... Who's in charge?
Abbott,
And what
then
Salve, be well.
Not now, brother. After. Can't you see?
Let us do what the prophet says. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I have set a guard to my mouth. I was mute and was humble, but kept silence even from good things. Here the prophet shows that if the spirit of silence ought to lead us at times to refrain even from good speech, so much the more ought the punishment for sin make us avoid evil words. Therefore, since the spirit of silence is so important, permission to speak should rarely be granted even to perfect disciples, even though it be for good, holy, edifying conversation.
What troubles you?
For it is written, in much speaking you will not escape
I'd
sin.
like to ask you something.
And in another place,
Are there ever any...
Unfortunately, yes.
power of
The biggest...
For speaking and teaching belongs
Tell me
to
something
the
about
master.
electing the abbot.
disciples
The old
have
abbot
to
is
be
practically
silent
on his
and listen.
deathbed.
And for
There
that reason,
are
if anything
two
has to be asked
candidates.
of the superior,
Half
it
the
should be
monastery
asked
wants
with
John.
all the humility and submission inspired by reverence. But as for coarse
Tell me about...
jests and
John
idle words or
is
words that
a
lead to
circator,
laughter,
and
these we
the
condemn
oldest
everywhere
brother
with
here.
perpetual
It would be
ban.
only natural if he
And for
took the
such
crosier from Peter.
conversation we do not permit a
I'd like to know...
disciple to open
Nevlas
his mouth.
manages the monastery's property.
The rule of Saint
He
Benedict
doesn't have the most experience,
reads
but
on
his...
daily matters.
Although perhaps he's too
Idleness is
keen
the
to
enemy of
change
sin.
our routines
Therefore,
here,
the brethren
which many
should be
brothers don't.
occupied at certain times in manual labor,
Why does it
and
matter?
again at
Because the
fixed hours
future
in
direction
sacred
of the
reading.
monastery
To that
hangs
end,
in the
we think that
balance.
times for
The
each
younger
may be
brothers
prescribed
feel they
as
have to
follows.
work more than their superior
Easter,
brothers, and
let
that some
their
brothers
calendars
are
be
more
told.
concerned with their own.
When they
The
go
older
out
brothers
for
take a
wine in
different
the
view.
morning, let them
They
labor
say
at
the
whatever
younger
is
monks want
necessary
privileges.
until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to
Who would you like?
I've thought long and hard
After
about
the
it,
6th
and
hour having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence. Or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as
What
not
would you
to
like?
disturb anyone else. Let none air be said rather
I'd like to ask you...
at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a
Praise be
task
to Christ.
of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot.
What do you desire?
The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot.
About you in the
Therefore,
election.
when
Ask me
anyone
anything you...
receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching.
Tell me something.
Nevertheless is
Say,
weak and
he should show them all that
toothless.
is
He's full of
good
hot.
and holy, by his deeds
I'd like to-
even more
Well, the young
by
brothers
his
feel
words.
they don't have the same
Expounding
rights
the
and
Lord's
respond.
commandments
Nevertheless...
in words to the intelligent among his disciples.
I'd like to help you.
Demonstrating the divine
I am
precepts by his
convinced
actions
Neverless
to
must
those
have
of
done
hard
something
hearts.
that would great...
So I should...
always
Exactly.
remember what he
But I doubt you'll have any luck.
I'm sorry, but that doesn't seem...
know that
He who aids a sinner...
more is committed. From him, more is
Thank you for
required.
answering.
Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has... After the 6th hour having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb. Idle words or words that move to laughter.
Talk to me, brother.
I'm looking for...
And what would...
I'm looking for
Lock picks?
I'd like to practice opening lock.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have... I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
Talk to me,
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. Today's task, 2 cockerel poke. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're